This doesn't sound right to say at all, but I actually feel for Boston Celtic fans. Coming from a Pelicans fan, that should tell you an awful lot. I'm not sympathetic about many fan bases in the NBA because I feel like my New Orleans Pelicans and Houston Rockets have been through a ton. And while the Boston Celtics have been good, they have had all of the potential to be absolutely great. I am somewhat shocked that this team was not able to put it together over the past decade and come away with yet another championship. This team has had Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier. The list of talent goes on for this squad. And that list that I just made was without naming two of the best young players in the NBA today, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. The Boston Celtics have had an embarrassment of both talent and picks. And while in recent years their team has been good, I would be very reluctant to say that their team has been great. But I think that they really should have been. It feels like Jason Tatum going toe-to-toe with LeBron James in the conference finals happened over a decade ago. This dunk literally happened 3 years ago, May 28th, 2018. Despite losing to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics gave Celtics fans and NBA fans promise and moments that they could not forget given the circumstances. Look at the comments on this video. We didn't beat LeBron and go to the finals, but we'll live with this highlight. The confidence to go for a bump after that, which I have to say the bump was definitely pretty savage. This play is when I knew Jason Tatum was the real deal. Tatum did this as a rookie. Rookie Tatum was tough, and here's the thing. Jason Tatum still is. Despite the slow start to the season, we all know what Jason Tatum is capable of. The same way that we know exactly what Jaylen Brown is capable of. But you see, talent hasn't been the problem for the Boston Celtics. They have had some internal issues that are starting to come to the light. And while it's early in the season and ultimately I think the Celtics will be fine, it's really hard to ignore signs that are right in front of you. Now, before we go any further, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You will not want to miss another Get Like Coop video. And that's facts. Guys, I have a football channel now, so be sure to check it out. I want to make this channel one of the biggest and best channels on YouTube. You can find the link to Coop down in the description below. It's no secret that Ben Simmons has wanted out of Philadelphia for a while. It really seems like there is no resolution in sight for Ben Simmons or the Philadelphia 76ers. Though I think it is safe to say that things are getting a little better, even if the progress is happening very slowly. At the end of the day, progress is progress, and I guess that's all you want to see. Not me though, y'all be easy. I would like to see a trade. I would love nothing more than for Ben Simmons to be free from the Philadelphia 76ers and playing basketball at a high level yet again. How quickly they forget. November 5th, Ben Simmons would be fined his game salary of $360,000. Woj reported that the team plans to continue fining him until he cooperates with team physicians on his mental health issues and fulfills other basketball-related obligations. November 8th, Woj would report that after initial reluctance, Sixers All-Star Ben Simmons would meet with a team-recommended specialist to discuss mental health concerns. Among other issues, the organization had recently reinstituted fines for Simmons' failure to agree to those meetings. And then there was today. Rich Paul believes that the fines, the targeting, the negative publicity shined on the issue were all unnecessary and has furthered the mental health issues for Ben. Either you help Ben or you come out and say he's lying. Those were Rich Paul's words to the Philadelphia 76ers. Not my words. Ultimately, Rich believes that the 76ers have other plans for Ben Simmons. The situation is an absolute mess. Enough of a mess to where the Boston Celtics wanted to, I guess, at least see what was going on. It was reported that the Celtics are interested in trading for Ben Simmons. But here's the catch. Any deal for Simmons would have to include Jaylen Brown. My initial response to this is that Daryl Morey is so out of touch to where I think he can actually pull off the impossible. I think that Daryl Morey is going to find a way to get a great trade package for Ben Simmons. Do I think that it's going to be Jaylen Brown? No. I think Jaylen Brown on his own team would have superstar potential. I think Jaylen Brown is on a different level than a lot of guys in the NBA, and there are times where I think Jaylen Brown flat out looks like a better player than Jason Tatum. Now, don't get mad at me for saying that because I love Tatum too. You guys have seen the Tatum videos on my channel. Ultimately, I think that having this much talent on the roster is a good problem for the Boston Celtics. As a matter of fact, talent isn't the Celtics' problem at all. It's getting their talent to gel and play together at a high level. There's such a difference in the NBA when you can tell that players are playing for each other and that players actually like each other and are working towards a common goal. Contrary to popular belief, I don't think that the Warriors have the most deep team in NBA history. Yeah, their bench is nice, but their bench's talent is amplified by not only Stephen Curry, but the fact that these guys know how to play for each other and with each other. Bro, on this alley-oop to Gary Payton Jr., it felt like everybody affiliated with the Warriors organization was going crazy. And don't get me started on the people in the stands. November 1st, the Boston Celtics would drop a game to the Chicago Bulls. This game that the Boston Celtics lost, they should have won. They went into the fourth quarter up 14. They ended up losing by 14 in what was an unbelievable collapse by the Celtics. The Celtics would be outscored 39-11 in the fourth quarter. When Marcus Smart would be asked about the Celtics' struggles, he dropped the quote of the century. He said, "I would just like to play basketball. Every team knows we're trying to go to Jason and Jaylen. Every team is programmed and studied to stop Jason and Jaylen. I think everybody's scouting report is to make those guys pass the ball. They don't want to pass the ball. That's something that they're going to learn. They're still learning. We're proud of the progress they're making, but they're going to have to make another step and find ways to not only create for themselves, but create for others on this team to open up the court for them later down in the game, where they're always going to have to take those tough shots or take tough matchups when they do get the one-on-one, or they bring the trap. It's something we've been asking them to do and they're learning. We just got to continue to help those guys do that to help our team." Savage quote from Marcus Smart saying that two of your stars need to pass the ball is something that those star players are surely not going to like. And regardless of if Marcus Smart is right or not, which I actually do believe Marcus Smart had a good point, and we'll get into that in just a second, but regardless of if Marcus Smart is right or not, this is something that should not be said to the media. What is up with Celtics players, present or past, going to the media with their problems? Following the game, the Celtics would hold a players-only meeting because, I mean, why not? The meeting would get emotional, and of course, that's no surprise to anybody considering that Jaylen Brown said this following the Bulls' loss and the Marcus Smart statement. It's something that we probably didn't need, but we all communicate and talk to each other, so we're always trying to find ways to win, and I'm open to any and everything when guys bring it to me. Coaching staff, I'm always watching film, trying to better myself and be a better basketball player and find ways to make my teammates better. So it felt good to get a win. I guess I kind of skipped over some things. The Celtics would go on to beat the Magic in what would be a bounce back win for a team that was struggling. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that Brown and Tatum would disapprove of what Marcus Smart said. Here is the thing. I think there is a good bit of truth in what Marcus Smart said. A lot of people got on Marcus Smart because they thought that he was saying this for himself. I don't think that he was saying this for himself at all. At least I hope not, because Smart's numbers definitely have not been great. And that could be due to a bunch of factors. But when the going gets tough, you have to trust your teammates. Even Michael Jordan had to learn that, and it wasn't until Michael Jordan learned that he had to trust those guys next to him that he was able to bring the Bulls to yet another level. I don't know how much Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown you guys watch, but as a Tatum fanatic, this guy takes some of the worst shots in the NBA. But he is so good at knocking down these tough shots that a lot of times you just look the other way. But when they're not falling, the shots look bad. Sometimes I get really bad body language vibes from Brown and Tatum. There was an early season Celtics game that I watched where Jaylen Brown went 3 of 13 and just looked completely disinterested in the game every time Tatum touched the ball. Every time may be a bit of a hyperbole, but the body language definitely speaks for itself, as do the comments that were made by Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart understands the direction that the NBA is headed. The ball is going to be in your best player's hand a majority of the time. What separates the good guys from the great guys is not only having that ability to score the basketball, which we know Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can do, it's also being able to keep the defense honest and making your players around you better, being able to play make. I think it's no secret that the Celtics wouldn't mind another playmaker. Maybe that's why they were interested in Ben Simmons. Or maybe they were pressing the panic button on the season a little too early. I mean, who knows? Shams reported that there was no traction, so we gotta take his word for it. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm Get Like Coop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.